Hello, everyone. It's Mark from This Is the Music, and welcome back to another episode of the This Is the Music Meets Podcast, the podcast where I dive deep into the stories behind the rising and emerging artists shaping the indie scene. Before we get started, hit that like button and leave a comment. It really will help the podcast reach more people and supports the bands that we feature. Joining me on episode 172 of the podcast is one of Manchester's hidden gems in the high nines. They are a five-piece who are beginning to build some serious momentum. From releasing their first single of 2026, Stop the World, to dropping their self-titled debut album back in October 2025 and their rapturous live shows, they are definitely a band that you need to get on your radar. And I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Dean and Steve to the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Thanks very much for coming on, fellas. How you both doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Mark. Thanks for those kind words. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be on.
Brilliant.
Some of that was true.
I won't ask which bit. Well, look, it's great to have you both here, and thank you for giving up your evening to come on and chat everything about the high nines. Looking forward to it. As I say, there's loads to get through. But kind of like then, how did the high nines get started? Because you obviously first started releasing music in 2023 with the Echoes EP. So yeah, just tell us, how then did the band get started and the decision to put out an EP at that point?
God, I mean, we've got a lot of history actually. We actually formed back in 2011. You might not know that, Mark, but we and we gigged for about 2 or 3 years. I think we split up back in 2014, I think it was, Dean. Yeah, and we had 8 years where we didn't speak to each other. It's very similar to the whole sort of Oasis thing, ironically.
For the record, he's Noel.
And then, back in 2022, I think it was, we all got together one night and had a few drinks, and that's how the EP sort of came about. Because we were like, we'll start releasing some music that, you know, some of those songs were written, you know, back in 2013, 2014. And we didn't really have...
The EP was written then, weren't it? All of it.
Yeah. And we didn't really have any intentions of doing anything live or anything like that. We just said to ourselves, we'll release these tunes, and then we'll see how it goes from there. And then it just progressed and carried on writing together. And yeah, the EP led to more singles, and then eventually led to the album, and you know, that's where we are now.
Yeah, we always say that, don't we? With T-Bone, who's the lead guitarist in the band, he's the bonehead between Noel and Liam, between me and him. He was the one speaking between the two of us, and I'm sort of going, well, I'm not speaking to him first, bollocks to him. And he was probably saying much worse about me, but there you go.
Yeah.
And then eventually we had a beer, and here we are.
Yeah, we didn't speak to each other for 8 years, it was.
Wow. Mad. Wow, that is that's an incredible sort of background and background, and obviously an interesting sort of story. And I guess in some sort of ways, maybe something positive did come out of COVID in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember it probably was through COVID, actually, through like the lockdown, going through old High Nines tunes and like listening to some of the ideas we had in from rehearsal recordings. In particular, She Wakes Me, which is on the EP. And I was just like, oh, we should have done that. We should have recorded it and released it. And I think that sort of sparked it. And then eventually we did release it on the EP. So yeah, that was the thing that did it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So sticking with releases, let's focus on the brand new single, Stop the World. It's obviously the band's first release of 2026, and it's already doing some really good numbers on the streaming platforms for you. So how are you feeling about like the reaction that he's had so far, and what does the track represent for you as a band at the moment?
I mean, we've had some really good feedback. A lot of people are saying it's their favourite one of our tunes that we've released, which is obviously great to hear, like being your latest release. And it was sort of one that came. We wrote it after the album was completely done. It's not one of those that's been sort of away in the locker somewhere. And we thought, yeah, it's time to release that. And yeah, the reaction's been decent, so can't really complain with it.
Yeah, and sort of Dean, I'll come to you on this one, and we'll sort of hopefully get into sort of like the nuts and bolts of the song. Obviously, Steve there just mentioned it was a song that was written after the debut album, but was it, when it was written, was it kind of like an instant, this is a tune, or did it sort of take a couple of sessions maybe for that song to sort of come together? And I guess really what I'm trying to get, was it a grower on the band, or was it an instant?
Was it a grower or a shower? Well. Yeah. Well, so the truth is, stop talking about me like that, Mark. You're showing me up in front of the world. In terms of the band, like, it's a bit of a misconception that Dean's the frontman, so he must write all the tunes, and it's not the case. Not at all. Steve is predominantly the main songwriter. I mean, on the album, don't get me wrong, like we'll add ideas, and I might add the odd bit here and there, but the album, the vast majority of the album was Steve's writing, and Steve's a genius in that respect. I've got to give it to him. I wrote a couple on there that won't ever be said against Steve, so record that.
Yeah,
and Stop the World. Essentially, Steve sent Stop the World to the group, and I think your wording. I think your wording at the time was, "Fucking hell, this is our champagne supernova." I'm sure it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
Whether it is or not is another thing, but I think that was, in answer to your question, it was instantly like, yeah, that's a tune. And things, what I love about this is watching things sort of develop from an idea that is, me putting it in the group, Steve putting it in the group, Pete or whoever putting it in the group, and then we start recording and adding layers, and it becomes another beast. So yeah, it was immediately, we knew we was on to a good tune with it, and now it's just it's a beast. So yeah.
Yeah, and Steve, obviously, do you think that this track then maybe sets the tone for what's coming next from the High Nines, or is there more that, clearly there's more that we haven't heard, but is this going to be like kind of like the sound of the band like moving forward, or it's still going to be those sort of anthemic, upbeat sort of like rock and roll numbers as well that you did on the album?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've got a real mix of tunes. We're in the process of sort of deciding, where if we go down an EP route next, or an album 2. We've got basically an album 2, or if it turns out to be album 3 or whatever, already written, and it's different. It's a lot rockier. It's a lot heavier, and it's very different from the first album. So we've almost got like these selection of songs that sort of bridges that gap between the first album and this second one that's going to be a bit rockier. And I think Stop the World is a bit of like a slow tempo one, it sounds quite anthemic, but it's like a bit chilled as well. So I don't think it's representative of like the second album that we're going to be doing, because it's a lot more chilled, but
it still fits within like the, I don't know if it's going to be on album 2 or maybe an EP, but it's not going to sound out of place with the other things that you might have coming in.
No, hopefully not.
I mean, we the way we've always written is not sort of, don't try and pigeonhole ourselves, just write whatever comes to your mind. Nobody feels under any pressure to write any certain way, and we just throw it in the group and it stays there. And Steve puts them in an ideas folder, which is, my God, I had to buy more stories of it. I think it's about 100 gig in it at the minute. It's crazy. So there's ideas galore. So what we've then tried to do is go, so we've kicked these heavier, sort of darker sounding tunes down the road. And that then was, we'll do that album 3 because we've got album 1 and 2 done there or thereabouts. Ironically, today, as there's been discussions about whether album 2 becomes album 2, or like Steve says, becomes singles and an EP, and then album 3 becomes album 2. But we're constantly writing, so it's a bit of a
I think like
but it's fluid.
When we did the first album, it was sort of like the track listing, I think, changed probably 4 or 5 times. We were like, right, we've got these 10 tunes, we're going to work on them. And by the time we went to record them, we had better tunes.
Yeah. And
so we did them, and then like halfway through recording them, we were like, well, actually, the other half don't suit it, and we put more in. So we're sort of constantly doing that, which is obviously a good thing, because we're putting the best tunes at the forefront of it. So who knows? I don't know whether that's going to change in the next couple of months and we decide to do an album 2 that's different than what we originally planned. But
it's the difficult second album, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Or do something completely different to what you've all just said, what you both just said. Sorry, on today.
We don't really want to put like any pressure on
Christian
ourselves.
Death metal and release that.
we're torn between this thing of like we write what we write, and we try and, when we're like thinking about doing an album or EP, think, okay, those tunes are sort of similar to each other, and so they fit together nicely. But we also don't want to get into the sort of thinking of, are people going to like this one? Because that's the sort of a dangerous route to go down. We want to do things how we want to do them. And if we like them, we know that, our fans and other people are going to like them. And you can quite easily go off on one with that and drive yourself mad with it. But we always try and bring ourselves back to that, like, right, this is us, we've written it, this is our tune, we like it, so let's just go forward with it.
Yeah, sure, okay. And sort of looking on, we've mentioned it a little bit, the debut album, self-titled debut album, came out in October of last year, and it made our This Is the Music's top 20 albums of 2025. Just got to throw that in there, right?
Have some of that. Yeah, clip that up and get that on social media.
That's it. It's the only clip that I'll need for the podcast. But why then, as a band, did you feel? Because obviously, I should say that you'd sort of relate from that. We mentioned the EP Echoes earlier on, and I think since from that point you dropped 5, maybe 6 singles, I think, from that EP release onwards. So did it feel just kind of like natural then to go, we're now going to go and do an album, or did it just sort of feel, do you know what, we've got 10 songs that are knocking around that we think they'd make a brilliant album?
It was always very considered, to be honest. We had a bit of a roadmap of how we wanted things to happen, including the gigs and including the album launch gig. Everything was pretty organised for us, actually. So yeah, it was all very much thought about. We're not as thought about at the minute. That's what the discussions are at the minute, because we're at that stage, aren't we? But yeah, no, it was all very thought about. We knew exactly what we was doing. We knew the tunes that were going on the album, the tunes that were going to be singles, and without sounding sort of too up our own backside, we've got a lot of songs. That we're not sort of scratching around for songs. We could release another song tomorrow. We've got a lot of tunes out there that are ready to go, really. So yeah, it was very considered. Yeah, we knew what we were doing, and the album. The only thing that we didn't know was the album title, and we'd come up with all sorts of names. I think there was a few touted, weren't there? Can you remember any of them?
Yeah, I can't. To be fair,
they were all super corny. or basically just that, yeah. So if they made us cringe, it went to the bottom of the pile, and most of them made us cringe. So the high nines it was. We'll be knackered when it comes to album 2. We'll just call it album 2.
Just get, like what the Beatles did with the White Album. Just pick a colour and just do that.
Well, that's ironically, we've discussed doing that very thing. So.
And kind of like looking at that release, sort of kind of like how proud are you that, you've got a record out there that says, the high nines, this is our album, this is what we're about, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it was all, I always wanted to do it because, like, when we originally formed and had those few years of gigging and everything, we'd released sort of EPs and singles, and it was just before Spotify was a big thing. So we'd release like CDs and stuff like that. But I always thought it's a shame we never did an album, because we could have quite easily done an album. So that was like one of the things that we wanted to do, get an album and then have it in vinyl as well. So just to look at, you know what I mean? It looks smart, and have that to look back on and go, yeah, we've done that, and we're all proud of it. We put so much work into it, and the reception it's got as well has been absolutely, buzzing. So yeah, it's just great to. I mean, I've got it there, and you probably can't see that, but
yeah, no, I
Dean's
can.
got one there. But I've not even played that. Yeah, it probably isn't our record. It could be anything.
You tell a joke. Mine's there. I've played mine. It's a drum and bass album. It's not even the high nines, and it's my album.
That's true. Yeah.
I need to send it back. That's a true story. I put it on like brilliant. My first ever vinyl, and it's a drum and bass album. You couldn't write it.
Oh, brilliant. Well, let's hope when, album 2 or an EP comes out, you don't have the same issues, Dean.
Yeah.
And it is, as I said earlier, it is a fantastic album. It's got, some fantastic chiming guitars on it, great rhythms, and those choruses, the ones really that, you just want to grab your mate and just sing along, at the top of your voice. But without, I guess I've kind of like described your sounding, or some of your sound in some cases, but is that kind of like if someone was discovering you for the first time, is that how you would describe the band's sound, or am I completely off track?
You know what? I toy with this all the time, and I've give different answers in different interviews and stuff that I've done, but I don't even know if I want the band to have a sound, because we write so many different songs. I mean, there's one called My Kind of Noise that we're toying with at the minute, and then there's other ones called, there's a song called Illusion that's in the mix, and they could not sound any different if they tried. So if I was going to put a song in front of somebody and say, this is our best foot forward, maybe I could do that. And that for me would be Let the World Decide. But I don't know about Steve, what his thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I don't know, really. I don't know what to think of it. I mean, like I was saying before, like when I write tunes and we write tunes together, we're not going, right, we're going to write it in this style or anything like that. It just happens. And I think because our influences are all similar, all the same, it's going to sound a certain way. So, and that's what comes across, I think, in the end, and the production and everything like that. But we never intentionally sit down and go, right, we want this to sound like, a certain song or whatever, or a certain band. But naturally, because we all listen to similar sort of music, and we've brought up on a certain type of music, certain types of genres of music, that it just naturally comes out that way. And that might sort of change for the odd song. It might be a bit more rockier. It might be, a bit more mellow. But the whole sort of the theme of it, I think, is the same. But it's not a conscious thing. It's not a conscious effort to make it that way. So yeah, it's whatever people is like for you. If that sounds like that to you, then that's great. I think it's everyone's sort of interpretation of it.
Yeah, sure, no, definitely. And let's move away from sort of releases and being in the studio and all the creative process, and let's talk about live music, because back in October when the album came out, you had a sold out album launch show at the Castle up in Manchester, which is a fantastic achievement. I'm sure you'd agree with that. What can you remember what the night was like from your perspective? And did it sort of, I guess, like, you're saying there about, coming back together after sort of 8 years or so away. Did that sort of like reinforce the sort of, I guess maybe the mindset, you know what, that we did do the right thing in getting back together? Look at us, we've got an album that's been really well received. We're now headlining this venue, the Castle, sold out. Yeah, what can you remember of the night, if anything?
I suppose for me, like the way I look at being in a band is like being in a football team. Everything else is training, and the big game is the gig. I'm just gig. That's what I want to be up and doing. That's me. You're not a front man for any other reason, really, are you? So for me, being up there and people singing your songs back to you is ridiculous. And there's one particular moment for me with I Can't Find My Way, and we did that acoustic, and people singing that back to you was, that was pretty special. And I suppose it just makes it all worth it, like you never know. Listen, we had such a long hiatus that we came back to this thinking nobody's bothered who we are anymore. I mean, to be fair, the way society is these days, a day later and you're old news, aren't you? So we had no idea how it was all going to be received. And I think it's definitely exceeded my expectations for sure. Old people who used to be in it have picked it back up and are enjoying it. New people who, little things like getting a text saying, "Oh, I knew you were in a band, but I didn't realise you were any good." And that'll do for me. That's all the praise I need. So it's pretty special.
Yeah, and how about you, Steve? Any sort of like memories or moments at all from the gig?
I think like just being, and the Castle wasn't our first one back. We had a few before then, but I remember, I think the first one back was off the Square in Manchester. But I remember on both occasions, that one and the Castle, being on stage and going, "Why the fuck have we left it?"
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, why has it been 8 years? Do you know what I mean?
Stupid.
Because when you play music with certain people and it just clicks, you get this certain sort of feeling, and when the crowd react to that as well, it's just like the best feeling in the world. And I remember thinking, yes, this is it. This is why we got back together. But there's also sort of a feeling of, why is it taken this long? But yeah, it was an awesome night that night, and we had an after party at Definitely Maybe Bar, which was went on to the early hours, and it was just, everyone was just, it was just a great sort of vibe, and just a bit of regret of like, why is it taking this long for us to sort of get back at it.
It's quite nice to come full circle as well, because our first ever gig was at a venue called the Castle, which is now a car park. And the album launch was at a venue called the Castle, so it's quite nice to come full circle and go, we've done all right here, we've come back.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, let's hope no more venues go that way, because it's hard enough.
That's the problem, isn't
it? And as well as obviously headline shows, you've also been landing some pretty big support gigs. You've obviously done the Blue Tones, and you've got Small Fortunes at Manchester Academy 2 this Saturday. We'll talk about that one in a minute. But let's first of all talk about the Blue Stones gig first. What was that like? What was that experience like, sharing a stage with, a band that were obviously a big part of Britpop?
Yeah, I suppose if you'd have told me that, even when I was a kid, let alone like after coming back and saying, "Oh, you're going to be supporting the Blue Tones," I would have laughed you out of the room. But incredible, to be fair. And this is the truth. The amount of people that came over to us that night and sort of said, by the way, I bought tickets for your Academy gig. I bought tickets for this. I've done this. I've downloaded your album. I've done that. More than one said, I actually prefer you to the Blue Tones, which listen, no disrespect to the Blue Tones, but I'll absolutely take that. But yeah, thanks for them for having us on, because they didn't have to do that. They was doing a show that night. They would have sold it out without us being there. But massive thanks to them for letting us be on, and it's an honour, obviously, to support anyone like that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Did you get to sort of hang out with them, and did they offer any advice at all or anything?
He was on the stairs and he came past me and he asked me where the toilets were, and I pointed him in the direction of the toilets, and he was dead grateful. He was dead grateful. So I'll tell my kids that one day.
And there's another clip for the podcast. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surreal moment, to be fair. Like playing, you're listening to their sort of famous tunes from, when I remember being like 14 and listening to them, or younger, listening to those tunes like Slight Return, and watching them play on stage, knowing that we've supported them, was a bit surreal. Yeah, it was great opportunity. It was amazing.
Yeah, sure. Now, by the time this podcast comes out, you already would have done this, but we're going to talk about Saturday night because you're supporting Small Fortunes at Manchester Academy 2. Another big step up for the High Nines. We all know how important it is to be supporting, emerging artists and grassroots venues as well. So how important is it really for, people to come down and see you on Saturday night, and what can they expect from a High Nines set?
I suppose so to answer your second question first, from rehearsals, there is no doubt in my mind that Saturday night you will see, if you're there, you will see the best High Nines you've ever seen. And I genuinely mean that. The rehearsals are sounding another level to anything we've ever done before. I don't know what it is, but it's sounding really, really tight and really good at the minute. And in terms of getting down there and supporting, we're grateful for everybody who's bought a ticket. We've exceeded our own expectations with ticket sales. We really have, and merchandise and things like that. I mean, people buying T-shirts, so it blows our mind. Like, there'll be a message drop in the group chat saying someone's bought a T-shirt in Wales. That was mad. It's bonkers. It really blows our mind. And anyone who does anything like that, even someone who just shares a post on social media, like even yourself, Mark, it means the world, because it's everything for us. It's massive. And I think it's a bit of a tip really for bands who are in a similar position to us. I think a lot of people don't understand the power of being a support act. I think being a support act, to be honest, at a level that we are, holds more weight than doing a headline show. Because in reality, a headline show, you're selling tickets to people who've already seen your music.
Mm-hmm.
So you're much, much, much better off playing your music to people who've never heard you before. Because if you're any good, they'll take you away and they'll tell their friends, and you'll build your audience that way. So I think you'll see the High Nines doing a lot more support slots than you will headline shows, that's for sure. And that's a conscious decision that we want to be doing that.
Yeah, sure. No, totally understandable. And sort of Steve, yourself, how much are you looking forward to it on Saturday night? Because obviously it's often we're just talking before about the castle and stuff like that. That some of the other iconic venues you've played in the High Nines, but it's obviously another big venue in Manchester.
Yeah, I can't wait. We've put a lot of work into the rehearsals and everything for it. I think it'll probably be the biggest show we've done. We've done a few ones.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and like everyone that's bought a ticket and supported us is like Dean said, it just means everything. Because it's a bit of a ball like going out these days, isn't it? Like how expensive it is.
Just going out in general is a ball like.
Yeah, just going out. It's probably my age but I'd rather stay in and watch it on TV or whatever. But when it comes to bands and supporting bands, I do make a conscious effort to go and see bands, because I enjoy it, but also to support them as well. And that's more important now than ever, I think, with the way everything's going with, the industry. But yeah, I can't wait. Absolutely buzzing for the gig. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, sure, and wish you all the best of luck in the world with it, because it's really exciting, and I can only echo what you've both said there, really, about the importance of getting down and seeing the supports early. I've probably told this story on the podcast before, but around about 2005, Oasis were doing their club tour for Don't Believe the Truth, and I saw them at Hammersmith Apollo, and the support band they had on was the Subways. Quite impressed
Oh,
with what they did. Thought, right, next time they're playing, I'll go and see them. And then they then had a band called the Rifles, who I
Yeah,
wasn't aware of, and I'd seen that did that weird sketch thing that they
great
did on Soccer AM, and I thought, and everyone was singing the Trotters, and they came out, and then I twigged who they were, and again, you're off, go and find another
mm,
band, right? Get into them now. So yeah,
yeah,
can only echo really what you've both said.
yeah, and I always find that's a really nice thing to be able to say. If you, or I saw them when they were doing X, Y, and Z. Was it the Sherlock supporting us, Steve, or did we support them back in the day? They supported us,
yeah,
didn't
something like that. Yeah, I
they?
can't
But look
remember.
at them, they're flying. They're
Mm,
doing really, really well, and we played alongside them. I think they supported us back in the day, and they were
Yeah,
really young kids back in the day. But like I say, they're flying now, aren't they? And they're doing really well, and all
yeah,
credit to them, brilliant for them.
yeah.
And that's the thing, supporting. You just listen to the music you've always listened to. Nothing's ever going to change, is it? So for people to come out and support us, and tickets aren't cheap, beers aren't cheap, so we appreciate it. Other beverages are available. I'm drinking Vimto tonight because I'm behaving myself. Proper northern drink. Not you two southerners start ganging up on me on Vimto, though.
I'm not saying anything. I'm here drinking a magnesium drink and a bottle of water, so I think you're a bit more hardcore than me, Dean. So let's move away momentarily from the music. Dean, I know that you're a Man United fan, and Steve, I know that you support Tottenham. But Dean, I'll come to you first on the football side of things, because you featured in the United We Stand fanzine, which, for those that don't know, is a fan's view of obviously of all the goings on with Manchester United. What did that feel like? A team obviously you've supported, for years, to be in a magazine, like that. It probably means a little bit more to supporters than the match day program.
Oh, 100%. I couldn't care less about the club and the Glazers. It's all about the fans. No, do you know what, mate? It meant the world that being in. I never forget growing up, and me and my dad used to go to the games, and we'd come home and we'd have two fanzines. They had Red Issue and United We Stand, and they'd always be on the dining room table. And I'd get up, eating my cereal and whatever, and I'd be reading United We Stand. So to have my own interview in United We Stand was mind blowing. My dad couldn't have been prouder. I could have played Wembley and he wouldn't have been asked because I'm in United. It was brilliant. And my dad's ringing me up the night before, make sure you mention this and make sure you mention me. And I'm like, why would I mention you, Dad? What do you want me to say? You know what I mean? Well, my dad went. Nice one, cheers. But yeah, it was superb. And there was another moment tied in with United as well. Back in when our first stint as being at the High Nines, we had our song played at Old Trafford at half time. A song called Rain Man, which was played. It was United Chelsea, and I remember it being played at Old Trafford. So that was an achievement as well. But yeah, I mean, they're not great, the club, in a lot of respects, and they don't do anything like that with bands. I know City are good with bands. They have a showcase and they have bands on outside the ground. It's the only credit I'm going to give them. But they do that, apart from being cheats and whatever else. But yeah, the fanzine thing was great. And for Reds to read that and read anything that I had to say was great.
Yeah, I can imagine. And obviously, while we're on the subject of Man United, I've got to ask you, what are your thoughts on Michael Carrick? Obviously, sort of interim manager. Would you give him, if you was in charge, would you give him the job full
Do you know
time
what, mate?
permanently, or?
I've had opinions for the last 12 years. and they've all been wrong. The only one I'm dead cemented on is I don't like Luke Shaw. The rest of it, I'm not sure about. I don't know, mate. Right now, as of the March 26, I would give it him. And the only reason I would give it him is because who else is out there? Tuchel signed his deal with England. Ancelotti, well, he's probably too old. And that's providing any of these what to come. He's in with Brazil, and the rest. I hear a lot of talk about Pochettino, man. He's won nothing. He's won a Farmers League in France. What else he's won? I don't get it. I mean, I'm probably as qualified as Pochettino winning the Rochdale Sunday League. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't add up to me, the whole Pochettino thing. So yeah, but then again, I'd give it Ollie. So do you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't listen to me. I don't know. Give it Keno and watch him just batter them all.
They'd all walk out after the first training session, to be fair. But the mention of Pochettino and Michael Carrick,
we'll take him. We'll take him. We'll take him any day.
Yeah. You're in a bit of a not just a bit of
crisis.
A crisis. You're in a massive crisis.
Yeah.
Struggling. Just 1 point out of the relegation zone. What we got? 7 games, I think, to go. What are you confident? Do you think Spurs are going to stay up?
No, I'm not confident at all. I have not. There's like a massive part of me that's like in denial about it. Like, no, it's impossible that they can go down. But after the last game, Nottingham Forest, I was just like, oh Christ, maybe this is going to happen. So yeah, I mean, definitely the worst season in my memory by a long shot. Absolutely woeful.
Yeah, it without getting too deep into it, I don't quite understand. Well, 2 things. Up the sport, speak to quite a lot of Tottenham fans in different bands, shout them out, Piola Dave, and Paul Hancock as well from Maze, and sort of listening to them, I can't quite understand 2 things. I mean, I joke around with them saying that they should have kept Thomas Frank in a job, especially with how it's gone so badly under Tudor. But I didn't kind of understand why hang on to him for as long as what they did, and then not actually. All right, you've kept with him, but you got to January, you clearly need some new players, especially with a couple being out, for the whole season type of thing. So why not back him in the window? But then you got rid of him, within a couple of weeks, the window closing. There's just some baffling decisions.
Yeah, made. Really. Yeah, I think everyone's thinking like that. Like, what the hell is going on? I don't know if there's anything sort of behind the scenes, because you hear from like the ex-managers, they've all said something along the lines of, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and so yeah, it really does baffle me how it's got this far, and like, yeah, I don't know really what to say.
Look at that, a dejected man. Clip that. Yeah, put that on.
I don't even know what to like. If
He's broken.
If we should keep him on and just go, how worse can it be? We can't appoint anyone, now that's going to change anything. So yeah, it's just depressing, man.
Yeah. Well, as a West Ham fan who is in that relegation battle with you, I think Tudor should definitely be kept in a job, because it would increase our chances of staying up. Or the other option is you could always bring back Tiny Tim Sherwood, who seems to think that he just needs to get him to run around a bit for 90 minutes, and that will do the job. But
yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll bring back Harry Redknapp any day.
He's touted his name around.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, I'd take him back.
Yeah, little job. Harry would love it. Love it. So look, well, let's get back to some more musical questions now. After that, hopefully, I won't make you too depressed, Steve. But this is the section on the This Is the Music Meets podcast. I sort of like to finish off with a quick fire-ish round, I should say. So obviously we mentioned earlier on in the podcast, you played a number of prestigious grassroots venues in Manchester. But what I'd like to know is, out of all those venues, what has been your favourite one to play?
For me, it's probably Night and Day. Obviously, like a famous venue, and we played there a few times. But we had a stage invasion once, and it was sold out, absolutely rammed. Stage invasion. It was just awesome atmosphere and everything. And Night and Day is just such a prestigious, famous venue. That's probably the one that sort of stands out in my mind. And also Gorilla as well, because again, sold out, and it was just like a huge venue, and the sound was just absolutely epic. So those are the two that stand out for me.
I echo that. Probably the only one that I would say other than that would be the Roadhouse, which is now again sadly not there. Another grassroots venue that's gone. But there's been some really big bands that have played there, and it was our first. Was it our first one in town?
First one in town, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a big deal because it was the first gig in town. I remember absolutely shitting myself on stage. And there's a video on YouTube, and man, am I moving about on that stage. That nervous energy that is flying through me. And we were crap then as well. The songs we did were rubbish.
Well, funny enough, we're going to put your YouTube channel in the episode bio. So anyone listening, once this podcast is finished, click the link and go and check Dean's moves out.
It's not on our page, I'll tell you that.
And sort of sticking with venues, what would be your dream venue to go and headline?
Guys, I mean, I'd love to play any sort of like stadium or anything like that. Even if it's not headlining, just supporting a band at a stadium or a big festival like Glastonbury or something like that.
South America for me. Anywhere in any stadium in South America.
They're nuts, aren't they?
They go off, don't they? It'd be absolutely wild. I wouldn't come back. I'd just die there, and then I know I would. It wouldn't end well.
And sort of sticking with this sort of, Steve, you just mentioned maybe supporting someone in a stadium. One band that you'd love to go and support?
Christ.
Any band, anyway, it could be a current band, it could be maybe sort of like, a legendary band, maybe, who, anyone that's sort of tickling your fancy?
Got Fontaines, DC, obviously Oasis would be incredible, like mind-blowing.
I can't believe you answered the Beatles. I thought yours would be the Beatles every day.
I mean, obviously the Beatles. I was thinking more current, but Kasabian would be absolutely incredible as well.
The music would be an epic one for us. We're massive music fans.
Yeah.
We both went watching them, didn't we? At Temple Newsome, and that was some gig. That was.
Yeah, we didn't even know that we were at the same gig, did we?
No,
we weren't talking at that point. But yeah, we went to the same
I
gig
saw him,
separately.
I just didn't look at him.
Yeah, they're absolutely
the
incredible.
music would be epic. And Oasis, obviously, would be phenomenal.
Yeah. So apart from the High Nines, what do you think are maybe like the 3 bands that you would recommend to someone listening to the show that they should be checking out right now?
There's a very young band, and I think they're all 16, maybe a couple of them are 15, called Shoehorn, and they're from around where I live in sort of Rosendale area in Rawtenstall. And they've been, even though they're 16, they've been going for a couple of years, and they're like drawing some big crowds, and some of their tunes are amazing, but they're such a great live band. Being so young, I can just see them. We gigged with them once, and we were just like, we couldn't believe like how young they were. So them definitely, they're going to do some big things. Who else? Quite like the Rolling People.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you've had them on or not, but Manchester
yeah.
band, decent, yeah.
One of our close friends, Joel, he's in. I mean, most people have heard of him, but he's in Istist. And Istist are a superb band. The live, it's not even a music; it's an experience. It's unreal, unbelievable. So anyone who's not watched Istist, get out and watch them. A couple of others from me. You've got good friends of ours who were back on the scene when we were on the scene originally. Black Sonic Revolver. Leon at Black Sonic Revolver, the Stage Invasion, they're on there somewhere. They're really good lads, and always put on a good show. And then a few lads who we met them in town, Shader. I think they're Stoke based. Met them in town, had a few beers with them, and they've got some really good tunes, and they're really nice lads, and they deserve everything they get. So, yeah, them as well.
Yeah, I think actually they've got a song coming out at midnight tonight when we're recording this on a Thursday. So that'll be
listen
fun
to it.
To look out to. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great band as you say. Tea, coffee, or Vimto?
Tea. It's gotta be tea.
Vimto, isn't it? And it's not called Vimto; it's called Vimpto. It's got a P in it.
That's the southerner.
It's a silent P. Yeah, definitely Vimto. Then tea, then coffee.
And sort of like looking ahead, what gigs have you maybe got lined up for the rest of the year? And are you looking at maybe trying to jump on a couple of festivals, or is that maybe? I know you were talking earlier on about plans, but what are you looking at in terms of the the live music front?
It's all in the planning stage, to be honest, at the minute, and we're not announced anything yet because we've got things that we're discussing with people, and I know that sounds dead corny, but that's the truth. We are discussing things with different people, so I don't want to announce something and it not come off. But there are certainly going to be shows out there, and we'll probably more than likely do a headline show towards the end of the year like we did last time. So yeah, there's lots and lots in the pipeline. We did have a bit of a hiccup because we've got a new drummer, so a bit of a hiccup that sort of slowed things down a little bit. But we sound great for it, so I'm all right with that. So it's just that we've probably not booked as many things as we could have because we've been waiting to push the button. But things will be announced. Just check the website and the socials. But the website's got all the tour dates on them and will always be updated.
Yeah, sure. And I know you've kind of like mentioned already in terms of you're in the planning stage for sort of music, but if you could pick, one thing that you would like to see the band do in 2026, either, like more singles or maybe a combination of singles and an EP or an album, what would you guys, hypothetically, of course, would you see the direction of that happening in?
I think a couple more singles this year and then an EP, finishing the year off with an EP and then a headline show, as Dean says, to go inside with that release of the EP, and then next year probably be album number 2. That's the plan.
Yeah, we had a bit of a roadmap as well. And listen, targets are there to not hit, aren't they? And we went watching Istist. New Century, and New Century's just done a bit of a Google there, and I think it's 1,300 people, and it was like sort of the road to New Century, and that was like our next target sort of thing. And I mean, we've done all right. We're playing in front of potentially 950 people on Saturday, so we it wasn't quite that target, but it's close enough for me. So yeah, we're under no illusions. We're not, we know where we're at. We know what we've got to do. We're not going to sell our soul to do it. So you won't see, loads of corny social media clips where we're acting. It's just not who we are. We'll do what we do. We put the music out, and hopefully that'll come through. And so we'll keep planning. We'll keep gigging. We'll keep releasing music, and we'll just keep going. We love doing it. It's what we do. I can't see an end to this, if I'm honest. I think we'll be old and greyer than we are now, and we'll keep doing it. Until Steve gets fed up with me again.
Well, I must say, from a personal point of view, I'm glad to hear that there's actually a band that doesn't want to do that aspect of social media, outside of just promoting your songs or your gigs? Because
do you know what, Mark? You'll know this, and you look at socials all the time, but I'm not going to mention any names. It's not good, that. But there's a couple in particular I can think of. I'm genuinely not sure whether it's satire or whether it's serious. And I'm there on Instagram looking at them, and they're getting loads of comments and loads of likes. And I'm like, they're either paying for these bots, or people are like liking it to watch the downfall, because we live in that society now, don't we? Where people love the downfall. And it blows my mind. Like, I'm listening to the music thinking, this is awful. There's no way anyone's buying into this.
Yeah.
But it's a strange old thing now. You're almost an influencer before you're a musician. And that's totally imbalanced for me. Like, we are always going to be musicians before we're anything else. And that's never going to change. Definitely not.
Well, I'm
not selling our soul for anyone.
Well, I'm pleased to hear it, and also could exclusively announce as well that there's going to be no high nines cooking with the high nines or anything like that coming soon.
To be fair, I think that'd be all right, lad. I'd be up for that. If anyone needs any advice on cooking Pop-Tarts, I'm your man.
Pop-Tarts, wow, that is a blast from the past, that I have to say.
Turkey Twizzlers.
Brilliant, love it. Look, Dean and Steve, that brings us to the end of episode 171 of the This Is The Music Meets podcast. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing the stories of the High Nines on today's episode. But before I let you go, can you let the listeners know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, so Instagram, the High Nines, TikTok, the High Nines, Facebook, believe it or not, the High Nines. We're on YouTube. We need to get better at that, but YouTube. We're on Twitter, X. Yeah, we're on everything. Spotify, every streaming platform. We've got a physical EP that you can buy on the website. Merchandise is available on there as well. So yeah, and if anyone's got any questions, like, we're not up our own backside, send us a message. Have a chat with us. That's what we're here to do. And we love that sort of stuff. The amount of people who've reached out to us and sort of, there's one particular girl in America who messages us about our music all the time, and she loves it. And it's nice to do that. It's nice to have that interaction. So that'll never change either. So yeah, reach out, have a chat with us, share us, and we'll do the same for other bands as well. And we'll support anyone and champion anyone we think's good.
Brilliant. Well, that's really refreshing as well to hear, in terms of, supporting other bands. And I'll put all of those links in the episode bio. And thanks again for coming on, and I wish you good luck with the gig at Manchester Academy O2 on Saturday, and sort of looking forward as well to sort of seeing some videos and comments and all that sort of stuff on your socials as well. As I say, thanks for coming on, and good luck for the future. And I'm excited to see what the High Nines have got coming up in 2026 and beyond.
Nice, thanks for having us, mate. Your platform's definitely one of, if not the best out there at what you do. So we appreciate you having us, mate. We really do.
Yeah, cheers, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 172 of the This Is The Music Meets podcast with the High Nines, a band that are absolutely on the rise. Make sure you check out Stop the World and their debut album. Trust me, you do not want to miss this band. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any brand new episodes. And if you are enjoying the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. So please drop a like on this video and leave a comment. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you very soon for another This Is The Music Meets podcast. And remember, the future is bright. The future is indie.